2, 3. Oh, having some technical issues here, guys. Welcome to Spurs Version TV. I'm not sure whether you can hear me. Let me know you can hear me, right? Having some technical issues here. First thing I'm going to say is that a happy Lunar New Year, happy Chinese New Year, wherever you are celebrating in the world, right? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, right? Tudor, right? What can I say? If this could be a short show, it could be a long show, I'm not sure. I'm just doing this quite impromptu, created thumbnail a few days ago when he was appointed, so I guess must well use it. And I have some time here now to chat with you guys, right? Please put your comments in the chats, right? And maybe I can react to it. And let's see how far we can go with this. So guys, I'm going to say that now after all that debacle with Frank being our manager, right? And, you know, the blame is being pushed around. Who's at fault for this, right? And all I can say is that, right, it all still goes back to the residue of Daniel Levy, right? Guys, I'm going to say this is Daniel Levy's fault, right? Because he brought in Lange, he brought in Vinay, right? And then he got pushed out of the club. So what can I say? If he gets pushed out of the club, big up, Anchor Forest. Hope you're doing well, right? Hope you're doing well. All right. So all I'm going to say now is that at this moment in time, we are stuck in this situation. We were hitting the territory, right? I'm not saying we're heading towards a relegation battle. We already are in a relegation battle, right? Looking at the points that we accumulated in the past 26 games, right? We only have about 29 points. West Ham has improved during the transfer window. They are catching up. All I can say is that we hope that bringing in this new manager, that we can actually improve in our standings, right? I think the one point about this moment now, we can see it's so clear that what our board is trying to do, our board is trying to bring in Pochettino or someone else in the summer. Like everyone has been saying, Spurs has always been that poison chalice, right? Top managers has been at Spurs and have won nothing apart from Ange. And of course, Ange did his short interview on the overlap, not calling us a big club, right? Because we don't act like a big club, right? Because he did say that he wanted Gray, he wanted Semenyo, he wanted these players and that players, and then all he got was just one senior player and 3 kids, right? One senior player and 3 kids. There was Dom Slanky and 3 kids, so he had to work with it. And of course, he did say one thing too, right? And just correct. And a lot of people say, why did he go on to the overlap and admit his mistakes and all that? Who does that? True. Think about it. Who goes on an interview and says that I was wrong and I was dumb, it's my fault? No one, bro. No one does that. Be realistic about it, right? Maybe in part he might admit that he did some things wrong along the way, but we have to wait for part 2 to come out. If it comes out or not, right? But honestly, that he did say one thing. Out of all those managers that over in this first debacle after Pochettino, right? He was the only one that won us a trophy. And he already said that he knew he was going to get sacked because in February, they weren't even talking signings with him and all that. He was like cut off the club. So we have to wait, right? And we brought in Frank, right? Whose choice was it, right? It was Lange and Vinay. To tell the truth, Vinay, get that Gunnar out of my club. I'm going to say that one more time. Get him out of my club because he is not performing up to the standards. And even about sacking Frank, there was a lot of stories behind it, right? Vinay and Lange wanted to keep him. Vinay wanted to keep that Arsenal model where he kept Arteta for 5-6 years, and that's where they are now. And to tell the truth, right, it doesn't work with Spurs. Guys, it doesn't work with Spurs here, right? We are starved, right, for so many years. And people say when we got our Tottenham back, and I've been saying this, I don't want this Tottenham. I want a new Tottenham. That's why when I was saying I was ENIC in at that period of time, a lot of people were losing their minds because I've been one of the staunchest Levy out, ENIC out proponents, right? But when I was seeing that the club was not listening to the fans and keeping to their guns, right, sticking to the manager, I thought, okay, this could be something different. This transfer window was different too. We didn't have all that links, right? All that links to 20 million players out there, right? No sound, everything was quiet, no rumors, no mention of nothing. So I was seeing it going down a different road. I want to see that different road, but nah, they switched back. They listened to the fans. They didn't want to stick to the plan. Okay, fair, because we are in a relegation scenario now. We have been tied down into a relegation scenario. So they had to react, right? So they reacted a bit too late. If they wanted to react, please react in December. At least you get in a manager, right? At least something that looks long-term, right? And support that manager, right? To tell the truth, Frank wasn't given any support. What did he get? He got a Conor Gallagher and another reactive signing because of Bentancur getting injured. And he got two kids. One that goes to the academy and one is Suaza or whatever, Souza, right? A Brazilian left back. 19 years old, bro. We are buying this again. What is wrong with this club, right? We have to stop doing dumb things like that. Okay, never mind. After that, they sacked Frank, right? Whilst that is happening, before sacking Frank, they're bringing the whole Brentford outfit, the coaching outfit, into the club, right? The whole bloody Brentford coaching outfit into the club. And look what happens now. He gets sacked, right? And I think we have to release about 5 of those people that we brought in. Even Heitinger has been let go. Heitinger, his assistant coach or whatever, assistant manager supposed to support him, he's been let go. Why? Why do we do all these dumb things, right? There must be something really wrong with us. Big up Ryan, Huddersfield Town fan. Ryan, if we don't get out of this relegation battle, right, we might, I don't know, if you get back into the championship, I'll most probably be doing a lot of shows with you too, right? And of course, Tudor is not the answer for you guys. Very strange appointment, but clearly he's the cheap option, right? Ryan, you've got the link. Hop on if you're free. I mean, if you're working, I'm not sure. Yeah, he's been poor in most clubs, right? Now, Ryan, to tell the truth, right? Tudor has come in as, I call, an emergency plan because they don't want to appoint a manager for long term at the moment because they're putting all their eggs in one basket, and that basket is called the Pochettino basket, right? So whether Poch comes back or not, that's another thing. But that's what all the fan base, the whole fan base is hoping for. I'm telling the truth, I don't care, right? Ever since Levy came up and said we got a top tournament back when we didn't lose in the first 10 games in Ange tenor, I said I don't care anymore because it's so clearly, right? We can't do anything anymore because if the owners can get, guys, we've been through Jose, we've been through Conte, and nothing happens, right? Right. And of course, Ryan says that he hopes to get back into the championship, right? And then if we meet you there, then we will, yep, thanks, we'll be on shortly. If we meet Ryan back in the championship, right, then we'll be doing a lot of shows together. We'll be doing championship shows. I'll tell you the truth, guys, right? This club, I don't know what to say anymore, right? Yeah. It's the hope that kills you, you know? I say, a lot of people say it's the hope that kills you, right? And let's see what happens, right? Tudor was brought in as a stopgap, right? Again, right? We've got players as stopgaps. Now we've got managers as stopgaps, right? We've been saying this for so long, right? And to tell the truth, and a lot of people are telling me, would you prefer Levy now than Frank and, Vinay and Lange? I'm still saying no. The problem has always been Levy, right? The problem has always been Enoch. Enoch and Levy appointed Vinay. Enoch and Levy brought in Lange. Lange and Frank are what called countrymen, right? There was this big, what called nepotism, cronism kind of scenario going on until that Paratici had to go, right? We had 2 DOFs. Which club, Premier League club, has 2 DOFs? And now they're saying they want to continue with this 2 DOF kind of program. Have they lost their minds, right? And the thing is, bringing in Vinay, a Gunnar. What the hell's wrong with Levy? What the hell's wrong with Edith? What kind of plans are you trying to bring? Can't you bring someone else from somewhere, right? Apart from someone who worked for Arsenal for how many years? 14 years, right? 14 years at Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or something like that, right? And he's not even a football person, right? I think the Championship is the best league in the world, yeah, for pure entertainment, value, and drama. Yeah, to tell the truth, right? To tell the truth, Championship, it looks real good now because it shows a certain level of aggression. And I don't think they're using VAR at the moment. The referees' levels are faster and all that. But to tell the truth, I'm not an anti-VAR guy or of any of that sorts, right? But if VAR is being used properly, it will actually benefit the game. But at the moment now, I've been saying, right, the VAR is under control of certain powers that cannot be named here. To to get a narrative out, to get a result that they want, right? But coming to that issue, where we are now, Igor Tudor, right? And I said Tudor or not Tudor, right? That is the question. That is the main question. But, right, what can we do? We are fans. Okay, we can say is that, as I can see this, right, this is a preparation for Pochettino to come back, right? Because we can't go and get Pochettino now because he's the manager of the United States, right, for the World Cup. So most probably we will have to wait, right, until, how is it, when time comes, let's see whether he gets knocked out in the group stages or whether he's knocked out in the last 16 round or whatever, right? Then we can start talking. But a lot of people say by then it'll be too late because by the time the World Cup ends, he'll be somewhere in July, mid of July, right? They want him here earlier, right? And to build things up. But for what I can see at the moment, we are stuck in a very precarious position because what's happening, right? We can see that the clubs are making stupid decisions, right? By not sacking Frank early enough to plan in the January transfer window to take us out of this predicament. Or maybe we were too proud to believe that we will be sucked into a relegation battle, right? To tell the truth, that has always been one of the positions that you can say that we don't want to be into, but it's looking more realistic now. And of course, we go back that the players are shit, right? Blah, blah, blah. We were 17 last season, but of course, we have to look back last season. The numbers were calculated. We were going to get relegated, and through the rest of the games, focus on the Champions League. Hold on, guys. So all I can say now is that Tudor's been appointed. For me, is that what we have to do is now we have to be backing the players and the manager that we have in front of us, right? We will have, I'm okay, it's my opinion. I will give him a chance to prove himself, to see what he can do, right? Whether he will continue on and bring us on to the next level, whether he will be able to, okay, that is going to be far-fetched, right? Whether he's going to be able to win the Champions League, I don't know. That's going to be something real far off, right? All right. See you soon, Ryan. See you soon. Right. Whether he's going to bring us all the way to the final, whether he'll win the cup for us, right? That's, of course, that's a certain part of Spurs fans who have been saying that we ain't good enough to win the Champions League, right? I've been saying that I don't give a shit, right? Get relegated and win the Champions League. That will be, I don't know, wonderfully painful. Getting relegated and win the Champions League. That will be really confusing for me. I mean, to tell the truth, right? This whole season has been confusing for me, right? Frank has confused me so much with his tactics, with his substitutions, with his lineups and all that. So it doesn't matter. It can confuse me some more, just as long as we get a trophy. And to tell the truth, if we win the Champions League, I don't know how many people will come up for the parade because we are relegated too. So it is what it is. All I can say at the moment now, we have to hang in there and, how you say, give the support, right, to this manager, and hopefully he can get a tune out of these players that we have. Right? I know a lot of people have been saying the players we have are shit. Yes, it looks a lot of players have shit, but to tell the truth, right, I do see quality in our squad. But the problem is that with the injuries and how you call the direction that we've been going at, it doesn't seem too promising. But we're all hoping that at least if we bring a new manager in, we can get a new manager bounce, at least win 3 games or something along the way, and at least be a bit safer, right? Because with 3 games, we will have 38 points, right? 38 points more or less keeps us safe from the relegation zone, but we'll still be at 17 or 16, right? And that is not where Spurs should be, right? And that will actually prove that Spurs ain't a big club anymore, guys, right? We have to accept it. We ain't a big club anymore. We might be big financially, but we ain't frigging big in the football sense, right? even after winning a Europa League Cup. And the sad part is that we don't build on our success, right? We won a European League Cup, a European Cup, right? We haven't won a trophy in 17 years. We've only won, what, in 40 over years, we've won our next European Cup, right? And this is where we are now, right? We are Tottenham Hotspur, right? We're not Crystal Palace. I'm going to say, we're not even Newcastle, right? But it is what it is. I think we appointed a manager that had a defeatist attitude, right? Fearing of losing more than actually wanting to go out there to win. So now, hopefully, with Igor Tudor coming in, I think for I call an emergency appointment, right? I think his short-term, contracts have been quite okay, right? He's been able to get the tune out of the players, but somehow or another, if you look on his long-term contracts, right, anything beyond 12 to 18 months, right, the wheels will fall off. And to tell the truth, we are Tottenham Hotspur. We sack managers, right? Like I don't know, changing your underwear or whatever, or wiping your butt with toilet paper or whatever, right? So all I can say at the moment now, give Tudor a chance, right? And let's see where he can bring us, right? And hopefully we don't get relegated, and we can actually progress in the Champions League, right? Further on, and at least beyond the last 16, and at least we can get into the quarterfinals, right? Then I'll start getting delusional, right? Then I'll start doing the Delulu watch-alongs, right, for all the games. But at the moment now, I guess today is Tuesday. Most probably he will have taken the training sessions and all that. He needs to get to meet the players. And the weird part is that, of course, we have sacked 5 of Frank's backroom staff, and Igor has brought in, I think, another 3, right, to help him out, which is, let's hope it works out, right? Because the next coming up game is the North London Derby at our home, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which till now we still don't have naming rights for that stadium. We're still using it as the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In the beginning of this plan, it looks good because, to tell the truth, branding the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the whole wide world to see, to remember the name Tottenham Hotspur, it was a good plan. But at the moment now, I think we do have to get naming rights because we do need the money to improve the sport, right? Guys, we were promised so many things in the January transfer window. There were rumors out there. Rumors again, guys, rumors again, right? We have 100 or 150 million war chest sitting by, waiting to be used. But in the end of the day, what did we buy? I think we spent less than 20 million pounds. And to tell the truth, I don't think we be. Big up, Rodney Martin. Big up, hope you're doing well, right? What we're doing now, what we did in the January transfer window, it was so clear, is that I guess the club didn't show confidence in Thomas Frank and didn't want to spend the money on him because we had all that injuries and we didn't buy the players to cover the injuries. The only player that we bought to cover the injury was Conor Gallagher for Bentancur. Apart from that, we got Souza for the left wing, which I pity the boy. He has to come in. 19 years old again. He did play for, who was it? We did play against, I can't remember, one of the games before the Newcastle game that we played, and I did watch it. Was it Manchester United or something? He had to come on against Manchester United, if I'm not mistaken. Can't even, to tell you the truth, right? I can't even remember what's happening in Spurs nowadays. Oh my God. I used to have so much in here with Spurs, but now I don't even bother anymore, right? What has this club made me into, right? So he did come on. He did look quite impressive on the left, right, going down the wings. And we've lost Udogi now. And we can't do anything. What's going to happen? We have to bring in our academy players. The youngsters need a shot. And the worst part is that, yeah, we let all our youngsters out, right? Scarlett's on loan. Donnelly's on loan. Everyone is on loan. Vuskovic is on loan. And there's so much news. Vuskovic is such a good a defender. He's a scoring and attacking defender, defends well, and it's all goals. But he's at Hamburg, and he doesn't want to come back to Spurs now. Let's see who we bring in as the next manager, and hopefully he will come back, right? And of course, with our captain, our captain. Talking about our captain, right? All the things that he has done, right? Getting the red card again, right? Getting the red card. Going up against. Hold on. Let me bring on Ryan. Haven't seen him in a long time. Hi, Ryan. Haven't seen him in a long time. Hope you're doing
Hello,
well.
yeah, I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on. Obviously, I know I'm not a Tottenham fan, but I still like talking football, of
Yeah, I
course.
know.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. No, the thing is, I think it's been nearly about a year or two that we haven't been on a stream or something like that, right? Yeah, we've worked with my work and your schedule and all that, and of course, you guys dropping down into League One. Let's hope.
yeah.
How's your chances of coming back up this season?
Well, like I say, the aim is definitely off promotion at the moment. We're currently in sixth place, so we're in the playoffs at the moment. So yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, look, the if we don't go up this season, the season will be a failure ultimately. So the aim is promotion. So yeah, no, but
Mm-hmm.
we really should be close to the automatic promotion places, to be honest with you, the top two basically, because we started with a manager at the start of the season who hadn't even managed before in League Grant, and that's really messed us up really in terms of going for automatic because we've got the squad for to go for that top two, but we just had a manager that wasn't competent enough to get the results we needed, and it was too negative. So, but yeah, we're doing all right. We play again tonight. Actually, playing tonight against Doncaster away. So hopefully
Okay.
we
Yeah.
win. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And talk about having a negative manager. Right? I'm sure you've been following the Spurs, having Frank there and all that.
It's a
uh,
strange
I
on that one though, isn't it? Because for me, like, I thought that Thomas Frank was actually a good manager. Because he did well at Brentford, didn't he? To take him from where he did to where they are now, where they're an established Premier League side. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Tottenham just seems to be a place where every manager that comes in fails ultimately. So I don't think
Uh,
Frank is a bad manager personally, but you might
yeah.
disagree because obviously you watch your team week in week out. But I don't know.
No, the thing is that I think Thomas Frank's problem was that, right? He went into a place that was too big for him. He didn't
Mm,
understand the culture and the mentality of the players. You get what I'm saying? And to tell the truth,
yeah,
we did have one successful manager, right? It was Ange Postecoglou. He won us a trophy, and we did
yeah,
the dumb thing by sacking him. You get what I'm saying, right? We shouldn't
yeah,
have
yeah,
sacked the manager, right? That won us a trophy because he galvanized that club while we were going through shit in the previous season. You get what I'm saying? Bringing the boys to win a trophy, and whilst we are in the 17 and the whole fan base, everyone was cussing him and all that for the league performances. But to tell the truth, he had one objective and he achieved it. And I guess, like I said, when they sacked Ange, I think they broke the hearts of, I think, about 80% of the current squad that we have there, right? And then you bring in a new manager, right, who doesn't have that personality, right, to how to call bring you to the next level. These players know it, they feel it. You understand what I'm saying? Not? They know what's happening, and I think the writing was already written on the wall when we played in the Super Cup, right, against half awake PSG. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
PSG just came back in their first week of training. We were up 2-0, and he couldn't even defend in the last 5 minutes, right? To win that cup. So I don't know. Maybe when he took the job, his mind was in the wrong place. And to tell the truth, look at Brentford now. That's my view of it. Look at Brentford now. How are they performing? They look like a totally different team. And I think in their day, right, it shows that Frank wasn't the catalyst that brought Brentford to the level they are to maintain them there. I think they had a very good structure, right?
yeah.
The coaching and all that. He was just the hitman there to do the rest of the work to bring them where they are. Look at Ryan. They brought in their what called attacking coach or something, right? Set piece coach or attacking coach, or not even the assistant coach. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing so
Yeah, I
well now.
understand you. Yeah, you make some good points. I think it's quite harsh to be honest to say that Frank wasn't kind of part, kind of in part had a part to play in Brentford's rise from, you know, the Championship up to the Premier League? Because I think he was. I just think it's because the way it's gone with you guys at Tottenham, it's obviously a bit, you've got a little bit of bitterness about the situation
Oh,
still.
no,
Obviously, it's still
right,
barely.
right. For me,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
I'm not bitter at Frank and all that, because ever since when Levy came out and said we got our Tottenham back, when Ange was in charge for the first, you remember when Ange was in charge, the first 10 games we were unbeaten and we were top of the league, right? That's when I saw through everything. Because I was always thinking that, you know, the managers, you know, they get back and all that, even through Nuno, Conte, and Jose, right? And even Poch, right? But when he said that, right, I knew it was over, because the managers don't have a say anymore. It doesn't matter. I'm not angry at Frank, to tell the truth, right? To tell the truth, I pitied Frank. I wanted him to win. I prayed for him to win. I wanted him to show something. But the sad part is that he comes in with this, it's not even pragmatic football. It's like he's gone in, right, programming the players not to lose first, instead of going out to think to win. That is the sad part. You get it?
Yeah, I get you. And I suppose what's kind of come to my mind at the moment with Frank is that I know this is about the new manager, which I want to ask you a question about that in a moment. But like, you know, like it's kind of like, you know, just because he was a good manager at Brentford doesn't mean it'll work at Tottenham, which is obviously the different kind of scale of club. So I think he's a good manager, but is he really that level to manage a team that obviously, like a Tottenham, like, you know, like a bigger team in the division? Probably not, is he? So I get what you're saying there, but moving on to the new manager, because I kind of shared my thoughts in the comments. I think it's a really strange appointment, this, because I just don't understand why you're bringing in a manager that is really.
Let me explain to you on why Igor Tudor is here. Our club and our owners, right? We've been saying it for so long. We never appoint the correct people to do the footballing side of the business, right? When Levy was there for 25 years, he is not a football man, all right? Basically, he focused on building up the club, right? And his focus was sustainability, right? Levy has always been very proud of sustaining Tottenham and not bringing them to bankruptcy, because you must look at our history. When Sugar bought over from Scholar, we were at the brink of, you know, non-existence. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Spurs could have gotten bankrupt and never existed anymore after 1989, 90, that period, right? And that's when Sugar bought the club, and Sugar couldn't, how do you say, maintain the club, couldn't maintain the fans' expectations. You get what I'm saying? He didn't have the money, he didn't, you know, but he saved the club. So the only other part is that he slowly sold out his shares to ENIC, which Levy came in I think 2001 and took full control of the running of the club. And for the past 24, 25 years, Levy has been there, and he's been micromanaging that whole club throughout that quarter of a century. Think about it, bro. Quarter of a century, one chairman, right? And no accountability. You understand what I'm saying? Until about when COVID hit, and when Spurs, YouTube and social media blew up, and it was all negative, right? And you should know that, right? I was part of the original part of the ENIC Out and the YouTube ENIC Out group, right? I'm not talking about the ENIC Out and Levy Out, because these guys existed way back. You can say that. And but we brought it on to social media. Our community on our side, of course, there were the pros and the cons. So by the time we got Levy out, it's 25 years too late, right? And accountability isn't there. And of course, I think the owners are ENIC, right? They control the majority share of Tottenham Hotspur. And the weird part about Spurs, right, the structure, right, there's another 13 or 12% shareholders, right, which adds up to about another 30,000 fans, because during the Scholar time, before we nearly got wiped out, right, I think Scholar sold some of, because I think the time, Spurs were listed on the LSC. You see, so when ENIC bought over the whole club, there were about 30 or 50,000 fans that didn't sell their shares. So they are still holding that 13 or 12% of the shares of the club. So that's why whenever Levy comes out and speak about the club and the finance and all that, he always says that I still have a responsibility to that 13% of the shareholders. You know, he has to, answer to them, which is bullshit, because if you're the majority shareholder, right, you're a dictator. You do what the shit you want. But okay, come back to Igor Tudor. The Frank appointment was a mistake. Nobody was admitted, right? Vinay and Lange and whoever was on that board, because these guys were brought in by Levy, he has to be responsible for that too. And whatever has happened, we have sacked Frank about 2 months too late, right? He should have gotten sacked when we lost to West Ham, okay? And that was somewhere in December. And if they really wanted to build on something else after Frank sacking him there, you get in a new manager, January transfer window, right? Give him the players that he needs. But we stuck with Frank, and we didn't buy any players for Frank as our injuries mounted up. You should know, right? Right? We have about 14 or 17 injuries, and someone now Romero is suspended for 4 games, right? Now he gets the sack. Okay, Tudor has been brought in, right, as a stopgap. You understand? He's a stopgap manager. I don't think, because I think the news is out there, right? He doesn't have an option to extend his contract. He doesn't have an option to, do anything else. His job is to come in as what called to put out the fire and not let us get relegated, because he has a good record of short-term managerial contracts and all that. But anything beyond 12 to 18 months, he loses everything. Short period of time, you see that he can get that 3 or 4 wins that what we need now. We are 29 points, right? West Ham at 18, they are 5 points behind us.
Is that all? Blooming heck. Wow. So close.
Right. They were 3 points behind us until who was it? Was it Sesko scored that late equalizer for Manchester United?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So now they're 5 points behind us. And that's when I think the owners, right, sitting there, right, looking at that Manchester, and don't forget, right, that Manchester United West Ham game, right, that equalizer came very late.
Yeah,
so and they were pissing their pants, right? They were going, oh shit, right? West Ham are 3 points behind us, so we have to push that button and launch that missile, right? So it is what it is. So now Frank is gone. All I can say about Tudor is that I can't judge him at the moment, right? He's got 12 games, right? The only thing is that I can say is that the North London derby is going to be a write-off.
Yes. No. You can't write off a derby. You cannot write off a derby game. And so is the contract.
No, Ryan. For him, not for us fans,
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough.
You understand? For him, that North London derby is a write-off because, bro, he's just started training yesterday.
Oh my word! So
what, you as a fan, right? What are you gonna expect, right? Tudor to do? He just got the boys yesterday, right? He's gonna play Arsenal, right, on Sunday, right? And Arsenal is a well fine-tuned machine at the moment, right? Their squad depth is remarkable, the way that we see them. And then, of course, I hope they bottle it. I hope we beat them, and I hope Manchester City wins. As a Spurs fan. But in reality, you and I know, right, bro, if we don't get humped, that would be the best result. And if we get a draw, it will be considered miraculous. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
we win, right? I think if we win, right, I think we won. We settled our season.
Yeah, but at least did he take training yesterday then? So he's got a full week's training before the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, what was I going to say? I was going to say about his record. I mean, his stints at his clubs that he's been at in Serie A and League One. This guy, quite a lot of games where he hasn't His last like 9 games at Lazio, 4 games at Udinese in his first spell there, and he returned there.
Yeah.
But
But,
his win percentage is
for,
quite good.
yeah, but for me, is that right? If you look at his tenure at these clubs, I think in the early stages he does quite well. I think if you look at his first 6 to 7 or 8 games, right, he does well. Then things slowly peter off, and then as it gets longer, right, the wheels fall off, right? Because when he took over Juventus, when he took over Juventus, they had Thiago Motta, and Thiago Motta was, I think, Juventus fans were looking at him like, the Thomas Frank of Spurs. They were slow, they were pragmatic, they didn't move forward fast enough and all that. And when he came in, he changed the whole scenario. The only thing now is that my fear is that if his philosophy doesn't stick with the players and they don't believe it, because he has this thing that the players always have to be moving. Nobody stands still. You get what I'm saying? Because you've seen us play under Frank, right? We stand still all the time. Nobody moves. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, I know that feeling.
Nobody moves, right? You know that feeling, right? Nobody moves, right? And especially when you see Romero gets the ball, right? He slowly walks out from the defense, kicking it a bit. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And the worst part is that none of the other players are moving. So
it's annoying, isn't it? It's annoying when you watch football like that. But I think that what was I saying now? I've forgotten what I was going to say now. I was going to say something about because I don't really watch much Serie A League One in France. But, I didn't even know who this guy was when he was first announced as your manager. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, the weird part is, right, Igor Tudor name has been actually thrown around in the Spurs community for some time. When Paratici was there, right? Because you remember Paratici was from Juventus. He used to be the ex DOF of Juventus. He wanted to bring him in. I think this season why do you think Paratici left? Because there was a clash between him and Lange. He didn't want Frank, and I think he wanted De Zerbi. You understand? He knew that Frank wasn't the fit for what you call Spurs, because the Spurs fans want a certain kind of manager to play a certain kind of football, right? But I think Vinay and Lange overruled him, and it is what it is. But coming back to Tudor, all I can say is now, right, to all the Spurs fans out there, the best thing is to support the manager and the squad. But my fear is that if he can't get a tune out of the squad, right, the players, to tell the truth, right, the writing was already on the wall for Frank when you see how our players perform, the inconsistency. It's like when they want to turn up, they turn up. They didn't want to turn up, they don't turn up, right? That was already writing on the wall. If those players have that kind of mentality, and if Tudor goes in and push them too much, and if they don't like it, they might revolt against him. And maybe if that happens, right, if he has enough courage, right, he'll bring on the academy players to take over, because the academy players will be the crux of the people, the players who are brought up from Spurs. They will love the badge. You get what I'm saying? They'll give their all because they get the chance. You get what I'm saying? But
yeah, I mean,
Frank was not strong enough to stamp his authority on this bunch of players. Let's see whether Tudor will. And maybe, let's say, I think nowadays football, right, it doesn't run on, last time when football managers like Sir Alex Ferguson, the players respected him and feared him. You get what I'm saying? And most probably they feared him first before respecting him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And now you look around 20 years down the line, right? These type of players don't exist anymore. If they don't respect you, right? They don't give a F what you say. You get what I'm saying? So we're stuck in a place where let's hope Tudor can get a tune out of players, get their respect, right? And hopefully they will do what he says, and hopefully we will get out of this relegation scenario. That's my only hope, right? Win 3 games. For me, it's a very simple thing, right? If he wins the first 3 games, of course, okay, no, not the first 3 games, right? The North London derby, if we get a draw, I'll be happy, okay? Let's say if he draws with Arsenal at home and wins the next 3 games, right? We have 10 points, right? And we have 39 points, and more or less we'll be safe from relegation. He can lose the rest of the games. I don't care.
It's
That's
probably,
all
but
I'm
I
saying.
think but I think for me is it's a horrible game to come into this in it. Obviously next weekend, this weekend,
Yeah.
sorry for you guys, they're not, because the thing is, if he loses badly in that game, then he's already on the back foot, and I just think then it'll just fight. I think it'll just the negativity, the toxicity will just continue. Whereas if you
But
maybe get a draw,
right,
you maybe seek a win, it'll actually help him. But I just think it's a horrible game to come
we, we,
into.
we, we don't, I don't see that. You don't see that too, right? The only thing now is to tell the truth, right? A Spurs fan, my opinion is that if he goes out, he puts the players and show a performance. Even if we lose 2-0 or 2-1 or 3-1, right? We put up a performance, right? Not like what we've been seeing for the past 26 games under Frank, right? Being overly cautious, overly pragmatic, right? Until the players, you must understand, Frank inherited a bunch of players, right, that played Ange ball. Yes, sir. Their mentality, and they've been tuned, right, to go forward. You get what I'm saying? Right? And once you playing, apart from being heartbroken and all that, you didn't get the respect of the players. They didn't want to listen to you. The authority, you didn't stand in authority and all that. The style of football didn't suit them, right? And the worst part is that before Frank even being appointed, a lot of people were saying, look at his Brentford record. He's an adaptable manager. He's tactically wise. He knows how to do the proper subs. But when we saw him every time mixing and matching the first lineup that goes out on the pitch, right? And he doesn't maintain a stable group of players to run down the games and run it through. I've been doing watch-alongs and looking at the team sheet and saying, I'm confused again. Today we're doing this. And then tomorrow, the next week, we're doing this, and this. What is he trying to do? Right? There's no consistency there. And the worst part is that the first 2 games or 3 games, we were okay. And why didn't he continue playing that style of football? Why did he regress all the way backwards? So I don't know what's wrong with that. And then, of course, the injury started to mount on him. And I think he started to confuse himself and not believe in himself. Right? And
exactly.
Yeah. And you cannot, right, come to Spurs, right, and think you are at Brentford. That was his problem. And the worst part is that because the owners and the board wanted to support him, they started to bring in all the Brentford coaching staff. That was the
but I understand that though. But the problem with that is that I don't think he knew what to expect when he came to Tottenham, because he hasn't ever been a bigger club like Tottenham. So I don't really think that, of course he's going to bring him in his staff, because that's why he got that opportunity at Tottenham, because of what he did at Brentford. So yeah, but for me, I don't see any. I don't see how the manager always gets the blame for the results. That's the problem. I don't agree with it. The players, these players have not been consistent under any manager over the last couple of years. So why are we talking about Frank as the biggest problem? He's not the biggest problem. The reality of it is, he's just one of the people that are coming. No, but what I'm saying is, it feels like you're trying to say that Frank was never the best fit for Tottenham. And who was then before he came in? Because I don't see who is going to be able to get a tune out of this group of players who seem to be very soft and not very good at taking responsibility. That's how I see it. The players at Tottenham have failed for years, and they need to take responsibility.
No, that's true. I understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's all on Frank. To tell the truth, right? The responsibility is on the club. We've seen getting new. We brought in Jose, we brought in Conte. We never backed them, right? Apart from, you say, Ange winning us the trophy, that was the pinnacle of our happiness in the past 17 years. But the thing with Frank is that it's always the manager get thrown under the bus. Which club? You can't sack 25 players, right? But you can sack one manager. So somebody has to take the responsibility and take the blame. And always, of course, the focus will be on the manager, because he's the one supposed to motivate. He's the one who's supposed to, tactically coach them and all that. So it is what it is. But what I'm saying about Frank now, what I'm going to tell you is that, do you know that Frank is the 3rd highest paid manager in the Premier League? 3rd highest paid manager in the Premier League. He gets £8 million a year.
But that wasn't on him. He didn't make that decision to
No,
be.
no, no, no,
He
no,
did,
no, no.
so,
I know that is on him, right? That is on the club being stupid again. You get what I'm saying? On the club being stupid again. That's on our hierarchy doing the stupidest things and all that. And I think he signed for a 3-year contract or 4-year contract. If they sack him now, right, we're going to compensate him another, 16 million pounds, right? We've been paying off managers. Yeah, after Poch left, right, we've been paying off managers left, right, and center. And the cheapest payoff, right, is Ange. And Ange won us a trophy. Think about it.
But the thing is, your narrative has changed because when last season, I'm pretty sure you was very anti-Ange and you didn't like him at all. You wanted him to be sacked.
No. To tell the truth, right, I was Ange don't care.
Oh, right.
I didn't care.
Right, yeah.
I didn't care about Ange, right? But whilst he was bringing us to the trophy, right, all I said one thing: if he doesn't win the Europa League Cup, sack him. If he wins the Europa League Cup, right, he deserves a chance.
But I get that. But
our whole fan base, I think not whole, about 80% of our fan base say no, right? No.
Well, yeah, because they weren't happy with what they were seeing on a consistent basis. It goes back to consistency. Yes, he won a trophy, and that's great. But the reality is that manager. But hang on. Let me land. Hans Foster Pogba, came to the Premier League playing football that he did in Scotland. In all due respect, Scotland's football is horrendous in the top league in Scotland, and wherever else he was. He came playing a style of football that was never going to work in the Premier League and on a consistent basis. Yes, he won a trophy, but you can't hide behind what you saw in the league. And I think that overall as well, his animosity between, because I saw a few times, I watch all football. I saw his animosity towards the fans who was giving a bit of stick at the stadium. I thought, hang on a minute. They have every right. They pay their money to go and watch their team. They have every right to voice their concern. So his energy, the way he was with people, I didn't particularly feel like if he was my manager, I wouldn't have liked that because I don't like. You've got to take responsibility. So the way he is, his football's rubbish. Yes, he won a trophy, but I don't think that warranted him staying because overall it was absolutely shocking at Tottenham whilst he was there.
No, okay, all right. I'm going to tell you this, right? For us, right, it's a very simple thing, right? The league is one part of it, right? He was bad at the league because by the time he calculated that he couldn't get relegated, right, he threw the league. That was a very clear thing. He threw the league, right? So we have to accept that because he put his focus on the trophy. Because Spurs hasn't won a trophy in 17 years. So he put that focus there. The only thing is very simple. No matter whatever you want to say, the bread and butter is the league and all that, right? Then what about the trophy? You can be fourth, third, second in the league. You don't get a trophy for that because you didn't win it. Yes, sir. But when you win a trophy and 250,000 fans come out, right, and celebrate that trophy in the stadium, and those fans were just not only Londoners, there were international fans there too, going there to celebrate the trophy. That is the feeling that I wanted for such a long time. I'm not saying that he has to continue, but at least give the man a chance. But the thing is that, remember on his overlap interview, right? He already said by February, he already knew he was going to get sacked. Right?
Yeah.
But by February, look, not about the results. By February, he already knew he got sacked because number one, they already calculated they can't get relegated. He put all his eggs in one basket, the Europa League Cup, and the club didn't talk to him about the summer transfer windows or what's happening in the future. He already knew. He sensed that. But you must give him his credit, right? Even sensing that, right? His focus was winning that trophy, and he won it. That's it.
I understand. Right? I understand that, but the fact that he's won a trophy maybe just sugarcoated the reality. The reality of it is the reason he got sacked, was because A, the football overall wasn't very good, and B, he'd burnt so many bridges with the fan base. What I saw was the way he was acting and behaving, and I mean, arguing back in the stadium with fans that had every right to actually give him a bit of stick when he were just continuously
No,
rubbish
I'm not.
performances in the league. That was pure
Yeah,
arrogance. So he burnt too many bridges. That's why he got sacked. I think if he would have been a bit more calmer, okay, some fans may have not been happy with the league form. That's fine. But I think because he was so frosty with the Tottenham fans, I think the Tottenham fans said, "No, we're not having this guy as our manager when he's
yeah.
just
No,
disrespecting us the way
no,
he is." Yeah,
no. I understand, and I do tell you the truth. I was one of those fans too, right? I couldn't take his
yeah.
press conferences. I couldn't take him calling out the fans and all that. But look at Frank. Frank, within the first 6 or 7 games, right, he was already calling out the fans.
Oh, did they?
Right?
I didn't know that. All right, right,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
all right.
So
Okay.
there's no difference there. And to tell the truth,
Yeah.
right, in the end of the day, right, the bottom line is it's not the manager's fault. You get what I'm saying? No? It's always been the club's fault. The club never give the managers what they want. If you go to the overlap interview, he was saying this. I wanted Mark Guehi, I wanted Semenyo, I wanted was Neto or something like that, right? They gave me Solanke and 3 kids. What am I supposed to do with it? So
Yeah,
I just
I
have to
understand.
move on.
Yeah. I absolutely understand that, and I'm not.
Yeah, and that no, right, and that's not the first manager saying anything like that, because look at what Conte said, right?
Oh,
What Conte did.
No, but hang on a minute. Sorry to interrupt you. So, look, the manager at the club is going to protect himself. He's going to blame the recruitment. He's going to do this, going to do that.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is that because he doesn't want to see the focus on themselves. So I think he's very selfish with managers at times, where they kind of say, "Oh, well, I didn't get this player. I didn't get this player." Well, no, you didn't. Well, you should have demanded a bit more when at the time of in the transfer windows then, instead of complaining afterwards that you didn't get who you wanted. So for me, the managers are there to do a job and they're there to get results. And ultimately, I don't think Ange was the right appointment. I think Frank probably was the right appointment, but on the balance, I think it doesn't look like that way. But I feel like I don't really know what's kind of happened there fully with Frank.
Right.
But with Conte, no, hang on. With Conte, I respect Conte. I saw that interview that he did. That was fantastic.
You understand, right?
Yeah, that was fantastic. Conte is a manager that really needs to get specialized players to be able to play the system that he does, and the quality he needs to play the system he does. He needs to be there. So he was fairly angry with that. But I suppose he was kind of not wanting to be, obviously he still failed ultimately. But I just don't think there's been certain managers at your club that have thought to themselves, why has he come here in the first place? And Ange Postecoglou is definitely one of those in recent memory. I don't understand why it was ever hired.
I'll explain to you why we brought in Ange. When we had Jose, Nuno, and Conte, right? Our fan base wanted that attacking style of football. Gung-ho, all the way, attacking. Because Jose and Conte were more of the counter-attacking, pragmatic kind of managers and all that. Our fan base couldn't take it, all right? So when we brought in Ange, right, that's why a lot of our fan base didn't actually turn on Ange until quite late, because he still gave that attacking kind of football, right? In the first season, yeah, there were a lot of issues. His first issue in the first season for Ange is that, you remember the Man City game against us, and then we didn't want to beat M City, so Arsenal couldn't win the league.
I remember that.
That started that toxic relationship with the fans. You can say his mentality, I want to win every game. Then he said, I can't understand, right? Spurs fans not wanting to beat M City, right? And that when that toxicity started, you said, but that was quite late in the season, right? But the problem is that, right, the fans still accepted because we were attacking, right? Imagine, Brennan Johnson is such a shit footballer, and he was our top goal scorer, right? And he was credited with the goal that we beat Manchester United in the cup final, which all of us Spurs fans sat there and looked, I think it's an own goal.
Yeah.
Right. No, okay. Then now we come back to Frank, right? Frank started okay. Then after the Burnley and Man City game, he somehow or another reverted backwards into this pragmatic style. So I was always saying, If Frank, right, came out and played that attacking style of forward football, and no matter where we were sitting, right, the fan base won't be too on his back and all that. And if we were like in what call 10th position, you know what I'm saying? 10, 8, or 9 position, right? The fan base wouldn't have turned on him. You get what I'm saying? So the sad part is, right, for Frank is that there were certain games, I'm not sure which game was it, right? When he asked the play, Mickey Van der Ven and Jet Spence, was it, to go out and clap the fans, right? They just ignored him and walked by him, right? That really showed that the players weren't with him. The disrespect was there. They didn't respect him. You get what I'm saying? Right? So it is what it is. But now, like you said, we're stuck with Igor Tudor.
But don't you think that, just a question about football in general, don't you think that of course, I think everybody likes attacking football, but I think with Ange, just going back just to final point with him, I feel like his football was over attacking, if that makes sense, if that's possible, because I think it left you open at the back so many times, I remember. And look, fans like attacking football, but it's not to the point of insanity and being absolutely stupid about it.
Right.
So look, but hang on. But why did Frank come in and have a style and then he changed? I think it's because managers then get fearful of losing. I think Frank fits into that mold. He didn't want to go on a losing run, so he was trying to be more pragmatic with how he was doing things. And ultimately, that was never going to work, to be honest with you. You need a good balance. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the balance is one thing. Okay. For Ange, when Ange came out and said, right, defense doesn't matter, we need to score more goals on it, I was already saying, okay, we're fucked. You get what I'm saying? Every watch along I did during Ange tenure, right, I was shouting, right, why our wings are all left open. Why? It's because our fullbacks, right, have turned into wingers and they're actually in the opposition half. So that's why our wings were always open. We were being slammed in that way, and everybody knew how to do it. You understand? Yeah. All you had to do, right, is just take one. Okay, every manager knew how to handle Ange tactics. That's why we screwed up. Okay, one thing. Okay, when you come to Frank, right, like you said, in the first 2-3 games, he was attacking, and all of a sudden, he regressed and became very pragmatic. And the worst part is that if you don't lose the games, the points are on the board, right? Then the fans also won't feel that painful. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The thing is that for Spurs fans are a weird bunch, right? They don't mind getting hammered 5-3 or 6-4, right? Just as long, right? We are exciting. They will accept it. You guys have, that's why I was saying, during the days of Mourinho and Conte, right? The football wasn't bad, but we played in a counter-attacking style, right? That actually look at what Mourinho did in his, I think, second season, or was it the first season, where we went to Old Trafford and we smashed Manchester United 6-1 in a attacking style, counter-attacking style of football, and it was exciting. But the problem is that when you see the way that Frank handled it, that's, like I said, the lineups were confusing, right? And you see the players, right? When I was doing watch along for Frank Ball, right? What I saw, instead of the wings being empty, right? The middle was empty. You know?
Yeah.
Players were running through and they were taking shots, right? Outside the penalty box, right? And scoring goals like that. So that was like, I was mind-boggled, right? We've got Van der Ven and Romero, and we're conceding so many goals. And they're supposed to be such good defenders and all that, right? So I don't know.
I see Romero as a very foolish kind of. He's very. You say he's a good defender, but I feel like he's very rash as well at the same time. I think Van der Ven isn't as good as maybe what you make out. But for me, I feel like Mourinho and Conte, although I don't feel like Mourinho and Conte are winners. But this manager then coming in now, what is the expectation? Is it's kind of like a kind of a clear view of what to expect now? Because what is the expectation of this guy now? What are you expecting? Are you expecting to kind of rise up the table quite drastically, or what is the expectation around Tottenham at the moment in terms of now you know who the guy is going to be taking the team?
To tell you the truth, Ryan, I think the whole Tottenham fan base now is right. The expectations on Igor Tudor is that just get us out of the relegation zone. Don't be in that relegation battle. You get what I'm saying? No? Like I said, if we win 3 or 4 games, right, in the next 5 or 6 games, right, which to tell you the truth is going to be very difficult. We're playing Arsenal next. I think a few games down the road, we're going to play Liverpool, Fulham, right? And I think further down the line, this way, we're going to pick up our points whilst playing teams like Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, and all that. We might pick up a few points there to bring us to a more stable condition, right? I think 40 points to 41 points should be good to keep us up, right, at the sense. And then, of course, we are seeing Nottingham Forest falling down. And don't forget, Dyche got sacked too. And now they brought in Pereira. Yeah, so, no, I think this season, right, the Premier League has gone totally haywire. You get what I'm saying? Right? To tell you the truth, why did Forest have to sack Nuno? That's the first question, right? But I think Nuno had a falling out with was it Edu? I think they brought in Edu, the ex-Arsenal DOF. If I'm not mistaken.
The owner at Forest is absolutely disgraceful, to be honest. He's at the head of it all. But yeah, I don't know. But I think, so the expectation to get away from relegation zone. So I think, a question I've got for you was, I have a question. Do you seriously think that you're in a relegation battle at this point? Because there's always this narrative of some teams are too big to go down. This is what the narrative that always gets spun when maybe a team that's further down can't actually get relegated. Do you seriously feel like you're in danger of getting relegated at this point?
To tell the truth, right? Before, not at this point, because let's talk about last season. Before it was mathematically safe, right? I was saying that we were going down the way that we've been playing, right? But we were so lucky we got 3 more shittier teams than us going down. Yes, by January, we really calculated we could not get relegated. So that's why I said all the eggs were put into one basket. We focus on the Europa League, right? For this season, of course, we have that possibility of going down. And to tell the truth, right? I'm a Spurs fan, right? And I've been saying this for a long time. We are too proud. We should actually get packed down one time, right? To let the Spurs fan base wake up to see the problem is not manager or the players we have, right? You get what I'm saying? The problem is actually the ownership and their ambitions and what they want us to really be at. We have to change from the base, we have to change our recruitment team. We have to change our medical team, right? But the problem is that what I've heard from our medical team is that we do actually employ really good medical team. We really do have a really good the facilities and all that in the medical sense. But somehow or others, our players are all screwed up. And I have a theory for that. I blame our retractable pitch where we have another layer at the bottom where the NFL pitch is. I think because the football is being played on top of another pitch, and at the bottom there's another layer of hollowness or metal or whatever, right? Maybe the vibrations on that stadium, right, is going up towards the players. Every time we play there, right, it gives us what called a negative or a bad vibe that causes injuries, right? And our injuries are always weird. We'll always have this injury of it's just a minor ankle injury, but you won't see the player for the next 8 months, right? It was minor, but why are you stuck out for 8 months, right? So there must be something wrong there. And then a lot of players are saying, is it the medical team, blah, 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 and all that. But to tell the truth, right, we are one of the weirdest clubs ever since we moved into this stadium, right? Our injury record is horrendous. It's so bad until it's mind-boggling. We have up to 14 injured players. First team players being injured, right? Long term is Madison and Decky. And the sad part with Decky is that I think Decky was smashed by Matty Cash in one of the Aston Villa games. his kneecap, right, has been totally decimated. They had to rebuild it for him. And I got a sad feeling for Decky is that I don't think he'll play football again. I don't think he'll be at that level again because it's taken him so long to come back. And he, like what Frank was revealing the last time, he needs injections on that knee to see whether he still has pain or not. And the indicator is, right, he's not even in the Champions League squad. He's not even registered in the Champions League squad. So that shows what's going on there. But coming back to now, coming back to now, Tudor is the manager. How is he going to navigate through all this mess and actually bring us? To tell you, if we had actually a full squad, I wouldn't be that worried about relegation. I don't think even Frank would have been sacked, right? But we don't have. And how is Tudor going to actually navigate through all this, potholes and booby traps that he has?
So what do you know about this manager in terms of formation and style of play? Like, what are those kind of two things looking like when he's coming in?
Based on the reports out there, right? He's a 3-5-2 kind of manager, right?
But wing backs.
But he's not the defensive kind of 3-5-2 manager. He's the more attacking kind of 3-5-2 manager because he wants his players to run all the time. And his mentality is the football goes forward, right? Not the Frank ball that we see, backwards and sideways everywhere we go.
But you can look at it two ways because 3-5-2, it means that you've literally got. For me personally, what I like to see in a team is I like proper wingers. I don't like this wing back nonsense. I like proper wingers out there, and I think that with the 3-5-2. You're playing literally with 5 defenders on the field. That's how I see it. That's negative to me. I know it can sometimes be attacking or whatever you want to spin it like, but you've still got 5 defenders out there, and then I just don't like that at all.
I understand what you're saying, right? But the problem is that we don't even have 5 defenders on the field now. Poro is injured. Spence is injured, right? Apart, our centre backs are quite okay apart from Romero being suspended, right? We've got back Dragons we've got VDV, we've got Danso, right? But on our wings, right, Udogi is gone. Spence is like that at the moment. Poro has been overplayed, right? We brought in a young left back from Brazil. Let's see whether that will help him. Big up Tudor Clark, David Clark. Big up. Tudor is going to kick ass. Pass him and ignore him, right? Good luck with that. And to the next level and all that. But big up to you, David Clark. Hope you're doing well, right? Thanks for the support. Please smash the like, right? And of course, please go and support Ryan here, right? He's a Huddersfield fan. And to tell you the truth, I've known you for such a long time, Ryan, right? We've been, it's been such a long time, right? So, so it's a good thing, right? But coming to more or less to the closing part of this is, what do you see in Tudor apart from, have you actually heard of him? Is he like such an unknown name for you?
As I said earlier, when you appointed him, I was like, who is this guy? I've never heard of him before, to be honest with you. But it's because I'm one of these that I tend to watch. I don't tend to watch much Serie A. I don't tend to watch much French football. I tend to watch a lot of English football, obviously, from Premier League down to can watch anything really, League 2 conference level. So I didn't really know I don't really know much about him at all, in all truthness. I don't really know what to kind of expect there. But so I can't really comment on it, to be honest with you. But obviously, clearly he's been at quite a few clubs from what I can see from looking here, and he's fairly experienced, you would probably say, wouldn't you, in management? So, I mean, I had the table up of how many matches he had that he's managed before, but I think he's been in management for quite a while, hasn't he? So he's experienced. And
I think he's got the experience in the Champions League too with Juventus and all that. So that's why he brought him in. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I remember him when he was at Juventus because I sometimes watch Champions League as well. So yeah, I remember that's where I thought I lie. I do kind of now I think of it. I do remember him when it were Juventus because when I watched maybe them in the Champions League, one of the
Mhm.
matches. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did, but that was only the odd game, to be honest with you.
According to David Clark, in 341 games as a coach, Tudor has a plus goal difference of 1-1. So I guess he's got quite an attacking kind of sense out there. So that's a good sign. And the thing is that if he can actually maintain us and not drop us down into the championship next season and give us a good run into the Champions League, right? Maybe get into the quarterfinals. I guess that would be a good achievement for him. But all I can say is that I don't think he'll be here as our permanent manager unless some miracle happens, like, going all the way into the finals of the Champions League and actually winning it and not getting relegated. Then there might be a consideration, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, no, but for me, yeah. I do get what you're saying, but like if whatever the goal, whatever the expectation from the hierarchy at Tottenham is when he's coming in here, if he achieves that goal, obviously first and foremost get yourself away from the relegation zone, then surely he should be considered for the job. Another question that I've got to ask is, in terms of communication barrier, does he actually speak English? Do you know, or does he?
No. His
He
English is
does,
really
right?
good. Yeah,
Oh,
his English
okay.
is really good. He just came up with an interview on the Spurs channel recently. So his English is real good. There's no issue with the communication problem. And of course, David Clark is saying, right, I think it's 156 wins, 81 draws, and 108 losses. Yeah, at the moment, to tell the truth, right, we just need him to win four games in the Premier League to keep us safe, right? Bring us into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. I'll be happy. That's my standard for him, right? But I guess what I got to say is that the Spurs fan base, the first thing they have to get behind the manager and the players at the moment, give them the confidence, and especially we're going up. I don't know, it's the North London Derby this coming Sunday. That's the most important game that we have to look at now, right? And of course, after that, let's see what happens, right? If he puts up a good performance, right? Yep, he speaks English, right? Yeah, that's what David Clark is saying. Yeah, speaks English and grabs collars too.
What does that mean? Grabs collar? What does he mean? Grabs collars? Oh, is he very like a passionate kind of manager as well? By the way, is he like a proper?
Yeah, I think what he's referring to when he was a defender. I think Tudor was a defender playing for Croatia. Right. Yeah, so yeah. Oh man, I don't know. Maybe maybe we need some collar grabbing, right? Go and grab Vinay's collar and Lange's collar. That's what I want to say, right?
But the thing is, you talk about the fan base getting behind him and the players. I think ultimately it works both ways, doesn't it? Because I feel like the manager and the players have to show something as well. It's not just one way. The fans will be there. Will be there on Sunday. The fans will be there at the weekend. But then it's up to the players and the management to get the fans excited from what they're showing out there. So I think it works hand in hand, that personally. But but just because maybe it might seem that some fans aren't behind him or whatever. I just think if he goes along and he doesn't show anything, the manager and these players continue to not perform, then there will be discontent there. So it's fine, man.
Yeah. All right. David Clark predicts that Spurs will get 14 points in the last 12 games, ending in 43 points and 15th place, right? And of course, winning the Champions League, right?
So you would think do you think 40 points is enough to keep you up then? Is that what you're saying? Do you think 40 points will do it?
Yeah, 40 points in the last, I think, 10 to 15 years have always been that safety barrier for us to be at, right? I think the last time that a team got relegated with more than 40 points was West Ham with 41 or 42 points, right? So that's what we're looking at. So, and that was quite some time back. And recently, for the past 5 years, even 38 points. Remember last season, we had 38 points. We were still up there, right? So it doesn't make such a I mean, another 9 games, 3 wins or 9 draws, or how you want to calculate it, should give us quite a stable footing. hopefully, right? But hard to say, right? But it's hard to say, right? If Leeds, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, right? These three teams all of a sudden, go up a couple of gears and
West
we don't
Ham.
move.
Yeah. West Ham, I feel, is the big one because I feel like West Ham have really upped their form, haven't they, recently, from what I've seen. I know they may have slipped up. I don't know what they've got, but I know they've picked up massively because I think a lot of West Ham fans thought they were down a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so.
After beating us, right? After meeting Dr. Tottenham, they've won about 3 games in 5 or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's So they picked up.
They picked up, and the thing is that they are closer to Forest than us. So that's why I think Marinakis sacked Daesh because of West Ham getting closer to them. So he's pulled out the panic, but he's pressed the panic button and got in the Pereira. And let's see what Pereira does because we don't know, right?
Yeah, but this Pereira is rubbish. One Pereira at Wolves, he didn't do anything there. He didn't do anything at Wolves.
But Ryan, you must remember, right? Wolves didn't give him any players either. They just sold.
But hang on a minute though. I don't understand this yet because, like, for me, what about? I think teams that support the Premier League fans that support Premier League teams, I think they're very entitled for me because if you look at it in terms of these managers, if you go further and further down the pyramid, that just have to simply work with what they have. So this idea that recruitment and all this about we didn't get what he wanted, no. Pereira went in there and to Wolves, and he was meant to do a job, and he failed. So there's no hiding behind recruitment for me, and I suppose it's because I'm coming from a different angle of being in the lower leagues and things like that with us, and obviously League One obviously is the lowest that I've seen Huddersfield be at, but it's still a lower league team. But some clubs, some managers that are further down, League Two, they have to just deal with what they get, what they have. And these Premier League sides that have good players still, regardless of if you don't get who they want to bring in, they've still got a lot of players to choose from. They've still got options there. So I don't know. I don't really like that mindset of just saying recruitment this, recruitment that. No, I don't agree with it.
I understand your feelings and your opinion, right? But the problem is that we are in the Premier League, right? We do know that if you're in the Premier League, you don't get the quality players that come in at a certain level, right? You won't be able to actually push on that far. But talking about relegation is another thing, because the thing with Wolves is that Wolves, under this ownership, they've been having a lot of financial problems for the past 2 or 3 years, right? So it's all seen there. So they are primed to go back down, right? Because if they go back down, they do get their severance, what called the parachute package and all that. They get a couple of £100 million and all that to help them readapt again. Right, and then whatever players they have to sell, they sell. They already sold most of the players. So to tell you the truth, Wolves is a gone case. I think they'll be gone. Burnley is not looking too good too, right? They just lost in the FA Cup to what? Mansfield.
Yeah, they're in League One, the same league as us. They're 14th in League One as well. No, but look, well, listen, that's the FA Cup for you. But I think Burnley are a team that are just a yo-yo teams. I think Wolves and Burnley are down. It's just that final place. It's a bit interesting because West Ham, like I say, are shown form recently. I think West Ham could actually get out of it, me personally, now with the form.
I see that too. But who is going down, you see? Who will replace West Ham? Will it be Nottingham Forest?
Forest, hopefully. I don't like Forest. Yeah.
So I want Forest to go down too, right? I hate that fat man.
I just hate their fan base and the way they the way they think they're this massive club. No, you're not massive just because of your history. You've got to earn the right. But But going off recruitment again, sorry, like you said, Premier League teams need Premier League, obviously quality players. But no matter what level you are, you need quality good players for that level as well. So like,
I understand.
So if you look at it from that angle,
every league has got their level, right?
Yeah.
And every league's level, the manager has to work with what they have. That's
exactly.
All.
Limited budgets in a lot of these teams, lower down the league, and I think that's why Premier League. If you go near,
apart from one team, right? Wrexham.
Oh, don't get me going on that Disney FC franchise. I cannot stand that story. The obsession with Wrexham is just unbearable. I hate it. I can't stand them, to be honest with you. Yeah, no, not
I tell
into
you,
this fairy
right,
tale.
right. I tell you, right, if Wrexham makes it into the Premier League, right, then it'll be proven, right, everything is fixed.
Yeah, no, I can't. I think I don't know if you watch. Do you watch the EFL at all? Because they were a good game on last night between Coventry and
Uh,
Middlesbrough. The
uh,
top two in the
I know.
championship. That was a
I saw,
great game.
I saw the reports, right? Lampard beat, because they are the two running for the top of
Yeah,
the
the
championship,
top two
right?
currently at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll give Lampard some kudos, right? After so many years of failures, at last he's bringing some positive results with Coventry. You get what I'm saying? That's the only thing I can say. But
Yeah, of course. But
yeah,
anyway, we'll see what happens.
yeah. All right, Ryan. Most probably going to end the show soon. Before, let me see. Let me read David Clark's last workout. Lucky you only have to be upset about Spurs, and I'm married to a Leicester girl and live amongst crazy Leicester City fans. Yeah. Oh, David Clark's from he's a Leicester fan. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken. Are you a Leicester fan? Yeah, you're not mistaken. You're a Leicester fan, David Clark. Right. But I've got my theory with Leicester, right? Don't forget, Leicester is owned by Thai owners, right? So we won't go there, right? After winning that trophy. After you guys winning the Premier League, right? And to tell the truth, right? You guys should be happy, right? Spurs haven't even won the Premier League yet. Right. Big up to David Clark. Thanks for the support. Right. For the messages. Rodney's been here. Of course, Ryan is with me now. Right. Thanks for being here. Of course, Enco. Right. Thanks for your support. And David, Ryan, what shows you got coming up? Are you doing a watch along for the Huddersfield Doncaster?
Yeah, we'll be doing a watch along for the game this evening, and then content coming up for me on the channel. I'll be doing my match reaction to that tomorrow morning, and then do my League One predictions show on what day are we on? Thursday, and then my preview show for the next game, because it's thick and fast in the lower league. We've got Saturday, Tuesday. So I'll be doing a preview show then. So that's what's coming up for the rest of the week, really. So yeah, but thank you for having me, though. I really enjoyed
guys,
coming back
go
on
and subscribe to Ryan's channel, right? Huddersfield Fan TV, right? You're not mistaken, right? And thanks for being here with me, right, guys? I'll catch up with you later. And of course, everyone who's celebrating Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year around the world, right? All I can say in Cantonese is "Kong Hei Pa Choi," right? That means a lot of prosperity and abundance, right? Take care, guys. I'll catch up with you. And don't forget, the North London Derby is coming up on Sunday. Come on, you Spurs. Inek out.